here in the perimeter, there are no stars. Out here, we is stoned. Immaculate.
Hello and welcome. This is the C86 show. I'm David Eastaugh. As you know, we love a special guest. This week it's going to be the turn of Tim Blake, who I spoke to very recently to find out more about life, love, poetry and all that other groovy stuff. Has been in lots of musical bands and adventures, including Gong, the early years, and also Hawkwind, which is a fascinating story. So this is the interview. There's a little bit of confusion at the beginning, but as long as you navigate through that, you'll get into the rest of the interview, which is quite unbelievably interesting and rewarding if you get to the end, but who knows. Anyway, look, after several minutes of interesting but casual chat, we get down to the early formative years. Tim, it's over to you.
C86, I thought you were the local radio.
Yeah, so God, so that's so you've lived there, God, I'm doing the maths now, since, yes, that's quite right, 2000.
Since 2009, yeah.
Right, you relocated. Yeah. Oh, good.
Well, I'm well known before as having lived for kind of 30 years in Brittany and in a windmill for most of that time.
Yes.
But it wasn't mine, so I had to go one day, and I found my raison d'être in Département 86, La Vienne.
Nice. And did it feel like home straight away?
Actually, yes, that's why I bought it.
It had a good vibe.
Yes, completely.
Good. My God, you must have had a lot of equipment to move with you, though.
Well, let's say yes than 40 years ago.
40 years. What happened?
Because one size is down, you know?
Yeah.
The importance of computing took a lot. For instance, in the past, well, it must be something like 20 years when I've been playing with Hawkwind. I brought the whole thing down because I don't drive anymore. I had a terrible car crash 21 years ago, and it put me off driving quite a lot.
Well, yes.
And so I travel by train, and so it's what you can carry, you know?
Yes, the laptop. Yeah,
and a rack and a keyboard, yeah. But
oh, you probably have a very good trolley system then, don't you?
Well, I got to be quite good with trolleys, yes.
Yes, I know. We've all got to navigate the lift systems very comfortably.
Absolutely, yes.
So yeah, so that's cool. So yes, so that was your where you live, which is 86. A nice little connection there for my moment. So
well,
then,
I thought it was quite funny. Yeah,
it was very. Yeah, I can see where you got that idea from. So then, yeah. So on that front, then. So what was your sort of early formative years then? How did music or culture start to sort of infiltrate your consciousness and DNA? You were born 1952, weren't you? So
I was, yes. I'm actually born on the day Elizabeth II acceded to the throne.
Did you? God.
Yes, so I'm quite surprised to still be alive, you know.
Yes, you've outlived her. Well, yes, her sort of reign, really, haven't you? So you must have felt quite emotional when she passed away, realising that you'd been together as a couple.
What was important was that she reigned for 70 years, and long enough for me to hear the 70 cannons firing off in Hyde Park, which I captured via satellite TV. And when I got to 71, nothing told me it was my birthday, but I'd always been very proud of having a canon for every year of my life since I was a kid, yes.
Well, nice. That's amazing. So what was your sort of your school period like from sort of, I don't know, 55, 56 onwards? What was your sort of, when did you start sort of feeling an urge to play music, or did that not happen until much later?
I know, I suppose I've always had a relationship with music in my life. I was a chorister, actually.
My God, that's amazing. You're the second one in 2 days I spoke to who was in a very similar situation, actually. A guy who I spoke to in a band from mostly the 80s, actually, called Fisher Z. I don't know if you ever come across them, actually.
No, I don't think I have.
John Watts was his name, actually. But yes, his early years. So, yeah, so where was your schooling?
I had quite a privileged schooling. I'm brought up in Northwood, Middlesex, a very upwardly moving family, and I then went to public school in Surrey.
Nice.
Which was quite privileged. I was able to turn away from choral music and learn the trumpet with a very inspiring English composer who's now dead called Derek Bourgeois, but was both a very prolific composer and a great supporter of youth music. So, I profited from what he had to say. And but I didn't actually enjoy my schooling, so it was a question of getting out as soon as it was allowed.
Yes. Were you boarding at that stage? Were you actually?
Yes. I mean, the strange thing about it is I went to school 750 metres from where Eric Clapton lives now, and I met him there in 2019. I said, Eric, are you still living in that house? He said, how do you know my house, Tim? I said, you won't believe this, but I went to school up the road,
Right. So dear old Derek was your sort of early inspiration, actually.
Well, not at all. No, he didn't live there at the time.
No, but Derek Bourgeois.
Oh, Derek Bourgeois, yeah, I think so. He's, he was director of National Youth Orchestra later on in his life, yes, he was... He wouldn't allow me to learn the piano. He said, you play too much already.
Right. So,
he could teach you. In my case, it was trumpet and harmony.
Yeah.
But he could teach you the works, but he didn't interfere in music.
Right, yes.
He would hang about behind doors and listen to what his pupils got up when he pretended to be late to a lesson,
Oh, well, that's good. At least that's quite a nice story, actually. So did you stay boarding until you were 16 doing O-level?
Absolutely, and fucked off, yes.
And then went off, and then with that sort of parenting, were they keen to sort of push you towards that world of A-levels degrees, Oxford, Cambridge?
That's all they know about.
Yes. What were your who were your parents anyway? What was their background?
Well, how can I say this? My mother was an upwardly moving young lady.
Yes.
From the beginning of the Second World War, almost. Actually, she would be 100 years this year.
Crikey.
Yeah, it's weird that in September I'll be thinking about that. Yeah.
Raise a glass to your mum, actually. Yeah, so she was upwardly mobile. And did your father and his side, did they come from a moneyed background then?
No, not true.
But he must have been a very professional person.
Anyway, well, no, my father was simply a soldier.
Right.
And he got blown up in Italy. I mean, it's simple. He fought in Iraq and Iran, in Syria, and twice in Palestine before invading Italy. Well, apart from Italy, he must have brought great peace to those places because they're still fucking fighting, you know. So what a waste of time and a waste of a life. But anyway, my mother had a hobby, which was getting married, and she got married several times in her life. And I do remember the family I was brought up in. We started out in a caravan, and I ended up in public school.
Blimey, you packed a lot in before the age of 16.
Yeah. It was. I said upwardly moving, did I not?
You were fluid at that stage. So you would have been that perfect age, really, to have experienced and started to be aware of, like, the beginning of the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, and then
completely, yeah.
The psychedelic. You were probably 15 in the summer of love. What was your sort of studies? Must have been sort of waning somewhat. Were you embracing the hippie counterculture at this stage?
Well, it wasn't very possible at Cranley School, but I was embracing it as much as I could. But for me, the great échappée was the summer of '68, when I was at last released from these gilded prison walls.
Well, yes, you escaped. So what happened? '68. You've done your O levels or not? And
yes, I'm one of these people who is always to be found in the bottom stream and bottom of the class of the last possible year in studies. Then they give you some questions and you answer them, and of course you come out with all 15 O levels and. Certainly top of the form, you know?
Nice, that's very...
Well, I mean, it's just that these places, you go and you get taught, but you don't learn anything.
Right. No, but you know how to pass. You know how to pass an exam.
And other people go on and they continue being taught, and they still don't learn anything. You know.
No. So in '68 then, and being 16, 17, where's your first sort of stop from that sort of teenage world to almost going into adulthood?
But I mean, I did a year of performing arts training after school, which is '68, '69, which got me into London, centre of London, right?
Yes.
And where I was able to enjoy my own musical world. You know, and I was pretty good with equipment. You know?
Yes.
And so I started doing sound for people. And basically, from '68 to '69, I met everybody who I've ever had anything to do with, or at least in England at that time. When I was a student, I used to hang out a lot with Paul Kossoff.
Oh, yes.
And I do like All Right Now, you know. It's a really great English rock song, you know. And 1968, I suppose, as I was a fan or a user of the Marquee Club, I went to Plumpton, and this is the first time I met Arthur.
Right, dear old Arthur.
Coming down from a crane with his bloody head on fire. And, well, 1969, when I finished my studies, I was doing the sound for most of the Clearwater Productions groups.
Right.
And we had a gig every Thursday night in All Saints Hall in Notting Hill. And you speak to me about Bowie. Yeah, well, I have Bowie in front of my microphones with a 12-string guitar playing Space Oddity.
Right, so you met the man.
Oh, yes, yeah, very early on in my life.
Yes, because he was in his folk period there, wasn't he?
Well, he actually, I mean, Space Oddity, if I'm not wrong, is a 1969
release.
You know?
Yes, that was there.
So he was on the way up.
He was definitely on the way up, though at the same time he stalled a little bit after that as well, actually. But there was kind of an interesting lot of bands around at that time, because I did an interview with a guy who was in the very early prog, sort of referred to as the first prog band ever, called Clouds or 123, which Bowie talks about later on in life. They were from Scotland, and a guy called Billy Ritchie was the kind of one of the keyboard players at that stage. So
I wouldn't know.
No. So
I have a very narrow field of influences, you know, in as much as that in 1969 you mentioned Lowell Coxhill, you see. Well, I know Lowell Coxhill very well because I've known him since Kevin Ayers and the Whole World.
Right.
And in my sound engineering times, I rapidly started doing a group called High Tide, who were very, shall we say, in advance of their time.
Yes.
And it was at a High Tide gig when I was setting up my PA that a load of hopeless hippies came along and said, yeah, well, man, we're trying to get a band together. Do you think we could come and play? And my job would have been to tell them where to get off, and instead, being a bit of a hippie myself, I said, well, I'm sure we can get something together, and that's the band that became Hawkwind.
Right, there you go. But it's interesting you mentioned High Tide, because I did an interview with dear old Tony Hill just before he passed away.
Oh, you're lucky.
That was very lucky, actually. I think.
Yes.
I think there was a kind of compilation album that came out, and so were they a band that you could see had great influence on the sort of musical scene at that point?
I wouldn't say that, but I thought they were very good, and the combination of electric violin and lead guitar needed a bit of tweaking, and that's what I was into doing. So they were very good, how can I say, clients for me?
Good clients, and that was
I don't mean clients in a financial aspect because they're awful, but you know, I mean, I was able to add something to their sound.
Yes, and
You know,
and did you see that Simon House was going to be somebody who actually he worked with David Bowie as well in the late 70s?
he worked with David Bowie, Third Air Band, Hawkwind. You know, Simon is a very good friend, or was a very good friend of mine.
So did you work on their first album, Sea Shanties? Was that
No, but on the second.
Right, there you go. And with the Third Ear Band, did you meet Ursula Plank at that stage? Because she was one
No,
of the...
but I mean, up to, you know, the other thing that we got from 68 onwards in London was the amazing work of, what were they called in Alexander Street? But, I mean, the Pink Floyd management, right?
Right.
Which brought us the concerts in the park. No.
Was that Pete Jenner and people like
Absolutely, yes.
And Hypnosis? Well, they were designers, weren't they? But there was Sam Cutler as well, who was one of the people who put in. He was kind of managing the Stones at the late '60s, wasn't he?
No, but
Pete Jenner.
What were they called? They were called, I can't remember. But this was a company that actually belonged to the Pink Floyd.
Right.
That were in Alexander Street, who looked after the Pink Floyd, a little bit Kevin at one point, I think.
Oh.
But the whole notion of playing in the park came from them. And of course, it was basically to do Atom Heart Mother.
Right.
And here's a loop for you. I've always wondered who did the written orchestration for the Philip Jones Brass Quintet for Atom Heart Mother, and I bet I know.
Who? God, you left me suspended there. Who do you?
Well, I mean, I've looked everywhere, and I cannot confirm what I think.
But your hunch? What was your hunch for that?
Well, it's Derek Bourgeois. Who was Philip Jones's best mate, you know. We used to have the Philip Jones Brass Quintet at least twice a year at my school, you know, because they were very, very good. And it was no surprise for me to find them playing with Pink Floyd to do Atom Heart Mother.
Right. God, it's. I love these holistic circles that you're creating.
Yeah. I mean, I can't confirm that, but
no,
I suspect it very much.
Yes. So then, just before all that, you mentioned you'd met the members of Hawkwind at this stage, who were just. Was that David Brock and gang?
Well, in the evening, I met Dave Brock for the first time. Yes. And we've been friends ever since.
Nice. That's it. So then, how did you then? You were doing your sound recording. Then
not even recording. I was doing the PA.
The PA. Then, how does your next phase develop as we move into the 70s? Where do you sort of travel next then on your journey?
Well, very early in 1971. Like February or March it would have been. I got a phone call from someone who said, we've heard you're a very good sound engineer. Yeah, so I was very happy about that. And would you like to meet David Allen? And I said, well, who's that? He said, you don't know David Allen? No, I didn't know him from Adam. And then I got the card that was delivered to me was Soft Machine.
Right. Now,
I did know Soft Machine quite well, having done High Tide and Soft Machine gigs. And I had given my phone number to Robert, and Kevin had it too, you know. And so I wasn't really surprised that David would be asking to meet me. And they sent me to Marquee Studios.
Right.
and he was having a terrible time. He had made a record, or was making a record called Banana Moon, and most of it was bog standard, you know, no problem. But when he got to the major piece of music in this record called Stoned Innocent Frankenstein.
Yes.
David was mixing in tapes off the French radio of the Revolution of '68 and all sorts of things, and they just weren't getting their act together to mix it. And so I came in and I helped them mix it.
And
yes. I did 2 days with David in the studio and got invited to go back to France with him, which I did.
God, so that was quite the, yes, you mentioned that was recorded at Marquee Studios.
Yeah, it was quite funny because the last night we spent in England, we finished at the Marquee Studios and they said, oh, I suppose you'll want to be going to the club tonight, won't you? We're having a special evening. And as I was a keen Marquee person, I immediately said, yes, of course, you know. And it was the Rolling Stones.
God.
And they had this private evening going on, which was them leaving England to go to Ireland, you know, because...
The Exile on Main Street?
No, it would have been... they would have been playing Sticky Fingers because they had brass.
Right.
I don't think the album was out, but they were playing Sticky Fingers. Da 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 bum bum. That's Brown Sugar, isn't it? That's some Sticky Fingers. That was definitely what they were working on at the time.
Right. And did you think this band?
I think it was more a celebration of them leaving England themselves, because I mean, I know nothing about the Rolling Stones' business affairs, but from rumour, this is when they got rid of music business management and went to Prince Lohenstein of Luxembourg for business advice, and his first thing was get out of the English fiscal area to form a company in St. Martin in the Caribbean, which is where Rolling Stones is a Dutch company in St. Martin. So, you know, this was them saying goodbye to, before isolating themselves from the English music business.
Well, yes, but then, yes, and then they ended up...
Which I gather was great success for them, you know.
A glorious period. That was when they had Mick Taylor as well on...
Yes, there was Mick Taylor there as well, yes.
Who gave him that...
I mean, he had been in the Park 2 years earlier as well.
I know, with those...
The Brian Jones gig.
Yes, and I think King Crimson was supporting them.
Absolutely. Yeah, they almost blew the Stones off the stage. They were so good.
I had a friend who
went... the real King Crimson with MacDonald and Giles, of course. You know.
Yes, I had a friend who went there and said he timed the moment he took his acid at the wrong moment and then missed the whole thing because he was just tripping at the wrong time. But he was kind of physically there, but emotionally was all over the place.
If you're going to take acid, you must take it at the right time.
Yes, well, I think he learnt his lesson there. And
well, they're good. Better late than never.
No, so God, so you're definitely, yes, you're moving. So then with David Allen, did you then sort of move? Did you then become part of the Gong experience at this stage?
Not immediately, because the strange thing is when we got to France, and in the case of David, getting back, as it were, from having been away for I don't know how long doing this solo album,
Oh, yes.
The other main roadie of Gong had decided he would be the sound engineer. So this was a bit silly, me being there.
Yeah.
Right? And at the same time, this is the moment I bought my first synthesizer and was more of an interest in making music myself. And so after about 3 or 4 months with Gong, I drifted off for a bit with a kind of a rendezvous later.
Yes. When you were drifting off, were you doing any sort of earth magic at this point, finding stone circles, ley lines, or finding yourself at this? I mean, there was a lot
that had already been done. But no, but I was learning to find my own way with an EMS synthesizer.
Right, so much more.
Yeah.
And were you bringing in influences that you developed from your schooling days and sort of?
No, not really.
No, it was just that there was other keyboard players who had developed, like, I mean, the obvious one.
Well, I mean, my first synth didn't even have a keyboard.
Right.
No, that was a set. I actually sold my guitar to buy my first synth keyboard, which was a rite of passage.
Yes, there was a statement there, wasn't there? So then, did you then, 72, then sort of get back into the fold, so to speak, with Gong?
Well, yeah, I did several things. After about 6 months of being a hippie in the French countryside, I moved into Paris.
Right, nice.
And how can I say this? I was very lucky in that I met someone in the French countryside.
Yes.
Who was a lady who was somewhat older than myself, but suddenly realised that I may be onto something with my synthesizer.
Oh.
And I said, well, what would you know about this? And she said, well, I used to be a dancer. And I've done a lot of contemporary ballet.
Mm-hmm.
As you say, you know.
Yes.
Oh, really? You know,
and did you reply, yes, I love contemporary ballet? We must.
No. But I mean, I tried to get interested.
Well, quite.
In particular, wonder what the hell this was.
Yes.
Of course, I didn't realise for some time I was actually talking to Michel Tecou-Seigneur, who is Maurice Béjar's partner and had danced all the ballets on music by Pierre-Henry in the 50s.
God, you lucked out on that one, didn't you?
Yes. And so the next thing I knew, I was in Paris at table with Pierre-Henry.
Crikey.
You know, and as it happens, because there was a big creation going on that year, even at the Palais de Sport, to see, what was it, Nijinsky Clown de Dieu, which was a ballet by Maurice. And so I met the Parisian contemporary people.
That's nice. And how good was your French at this stage?
Not really very good. I'm now totally bilingual, obviously.
Yes.
But I was...
And you, I mean, what did they think of you? You know, like there was, you got this scene, I'm just picturing it, you're in Paris with this scene of other amazing ballet dancers and community, and you're somebody who's from a different background. How did that sit with everyone, by the way?
I don't know. And they're all dead, so you can't answer them. But what I noticed, what pleased me, is that I immediately found myself doing the demos for EMS synthesizers in France.
Right.
Okay? And, of course, I sold one to Piari. And I noticed, and Piari is not a synthesizer player. Okay? Piari is musique concrète. It's tape manipulation and cutting. That was his thing. And before that, it was recording onto discs and manipulating the discs, you know?
Yeah.
But not playing the synthesizer. His sounds weren't actually electronic in origin, right? It's advanced electroacoustic manipulation, if you like, you know, mostly using tape.
Right.
But for that matter, so is Doctor Who by Delia Derbyshire.
Oh, yes.
Okay? This is before synthesizers.
Yeah.
And but what pleased me is that when Pierre died, the photo that came up in all the newspapers with his obituary, there was the EMS synthesizer I sold him in the background.
You did it. Wow. It kept. Well, it's interesting you mentioned Delia Derbyshire because growing up in East Anglia, there was a guy in Fresnfield called Tristram Carey.
Yeah, well, he's part of the group of people who invented the EMS synthesizer.
Yes, and he did Doctor Who stuff, and we used to, as we trundle by on the school bus, people go...
BBC Radiophonic Workshop, they all worked there.
Yeah, so he had that sort of Suffolk kind of village life, actually, dear old Tristram. So you've come across his work as well, obviously.
Through EMS and Zinoviev, yes.
Yeah, my God, it's Jesus Christ. It's only 72, aren't we? And we're stuck here. Well,
you know, yes, but Carey for me would be 69, 70. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yes. Well, he twiddled away in those little sort of Suffolk backwaters for quite a few years, actually. So then, from that time with your contemporary ballet, then how does this then develop to your next phase?
Well, I then got offered a job, a short job, you know, kind of a month and a half it was, but because someone didn't know what a synthesizer was and thought it was a mellotron, you mentioned King Crimson, and I found myself with a French pop singer for a month and a half in Japan. Now then, I couldn't help that they didn't need a synthesizer player, or at least not a synthesizer player like me. It was a mistake, but I had brought my harmonicas with me, and I got by playing all the solos on the harmonica on the rock numbers, which was marvellous for me at 18 or 20 in Japan, you know. Oh, and this is life-changing, you know. And I bought a lot of recording equipment in Japan.
God, that's amazing. So in sort of 72, you'd sort of got yourself to Japan.
Oh, yes. And I came back from Japan with some pretty good recording equipment and started recording. And this famous auto-produced cassette called Crystal Machine, which gave the name to the whole thing, was produced then. And there's extracts from it on the Lighthouse anthology that Cherry Red brought out a few years ago.
Yes.
But this was basically my what would have been my thesis had I been at university. Okay, and next thing I knew was a group of people called Open Light got hold of a copy, and that's when I got to know Patrice Warrener, who's been my partner in Crystal Machine doing lighting in particular right back in 72 with lasers.
Right. So
So we were inventing on that side, and of course David got hold of a copy and immediately invited me back to Gong, and we prepared the Flying Teapot album.
right. So that was, my God, and you contributed quite a lot to that, didn't you? You did the octave Doctors and the Crystal.
Yeah, well, that's a piece of my solo music, basically.
Yes, and you recorded that was in Manor Studios, Oxford, at that.
Well, actually, the recording of the Octave Doctors and the Crystal Machine was in my bedroom while people were doing something else, you know. But yes, it was in my bedroom in the Manor. Yes.
Bloody hell, that's extraordinary. And did you go on the road with the Gong at that stage?
Yes, yeah, from about September 72 onwards. Yes.
And what were gigs like? Were they full of, I don't know, excited young people, sort of tripping the light fantastic?
Absolutely, yes.
Right.
Some of them were on the stage.
God, so they were still...
We only played in France at that time.
Right.
And it was sold as David Allen with Gong, you know. Gong had made, when I've been the year before with Gong, we made Continental Circus as a recording. And shortly after I'd gone on, they made Camembert Electrique.
Yes.
And I remember passing by the house in Sens and David saying, you'll like this, and he played me the mixes from Camembert Electrique. And he says, this is much more up your street than what we were doing before. And that is true, you know. And so when it came to doing Flying Teapot, we were doing it together. But yes, I thought the concerts in France were amazing. You know?
Yes.
Very psychedelic. But it got even more amazing the next year.
What with Angel's Egg?
Well, it was very strange. I mean, Gong is very strange. End of everything, really.
Yeah.
But how can I say this? During Flying Teapot, we were put through quite a lot of financial stress.
Yes.
Because David had signed with a record company which kind of proved invisible when you needed to see them, you know? And there we were in the Virgin Studios making this record. And so it's difficult to say what we were doing or for whom, you know. But there was a great discordance at the end of this recording when money got involved.
Right.
Because it seemed like, well, you know, the basis of Gong was we're a community, we share everything. But it seemed that when actual money was involved, David tried his best not to do too much of the sharing.
Right.
And this caused a lot of problems, and the group broke up.
Well, absolutely. No, I have a lot of hippies suddenly become very possessive when it comes to
And as a result of that, it was Didier and myself who went back to France after the recording. Everyone else vanished, you know. Something David's tried to rearrange in his memoirs, because he's probably not too proud of this. I don't see why he shouldn't be. But, we had met Steve Hill just before this. And so we gave Steve a rendezvous in the Gong House in France, you know, for like just before the beginning of February. And Didi and I went back to France with no group. And the day we arrived at the house, there was a guy unloading drums from a car. And I said, well, who the hell are you? And he said, hi, I'm Pierre, I'm your new drummer. And so we rebuilt another gong, you know, completely different, which started work. The first gig was my 21st birthday party, so you don't forget that, do you?
No, well, that's...
and it was very exploratory, you know. But by the time we've been at it for 3 months, we had most of Angel's Egg written.
Right.
You know, and that's when David suddenly decided to reappear. You know?
Oh, delightful. God, he's such a hippie. So you were working in the studio with, was it Giorgio Gomelski?
Gomelski, yeah, well, he's a strange person.
So what, he became something of a legend. What was your take of him?
I think he was a legend already. Giorgio's biggest claim to fame is that he managed the Rolling Stones.
That's quite a claim to fame, isn't it?
Well, yes, especially for a group who did everything they could to get out of the English music business afterwards. But and the Birds. Because Giorgio had a rock club.
Oh, the Claw Daddy, wasn't it?
The Claw Daddy Club, yes, on Richmond Athletic Ground.
Right, yes, and, very famous, isn't it?
And this is really a historic place in English rock and blues.
Yes, this is the world of Long John Baldry, isn't it? And,
oh, yes, all of them, you know. Yes.
Rod Stewart, Elton John.
But look, with Long John Baldry, you had Elton Dean, who went on to play with Soft Machine. You had Elton John actually playing the piano. In fact, he called himself Elton after Elton Dean and John after Long John Baldry. I believe that's what he says anyway.
Right, okay. And then Rod Stewart, yes. So Giorgio is like a grey cardinal over all of this, you know. Perhaps she was hoping to be the Pope, I don't know. A very nice person. Oh, good. Did you ever meet...
But I've no idea what his position was in music. I mean, he's got his name on the Angel's Egg, but we never saw him during those. But what is sure is that, for instance, when I was with Gong 71, 72, Gong was managed from an office in Paris where we were 2 managers working together.
Right, that's
with a booker, okay? And Bob Benamou had been the Gong manager up to the Flying Teapot fiasco, and Giorgio had been managing Magma.
Oh, the famous.
And this relationship with Magma went on for a little bit. I don't think David could support Magma very well, but for instance, where I live, which is quite near Poitiers, on the spring equinox of 73, we did an amazing concert with Alan Stivell and Magma and Nico in Poitiers.
Classics.
Packed. Must have been about 7,000 people there, which was huge for us. Well, that's got Giorgio marked all over it.
Well, yeah. So
just by the choice of people.
Yeah. Well, Nico must have been quite an experience at that stage.
Well, I enjoyed her company very much. One of my first jobs as Gong sound engineer, or as half of Gong sound engineer, was recording a TV show with Louis, John Cale and Nico. So I've always known her.
Yeah.
Until I disappeared myself from the music scene. Then the next thing I knew, she was dead,
Yes. So once you'd done Angel Head, and obviously a bit weird dynamics there, what was it like with the next album, that you appeared on? Because had Dave then sort of come back to the fold with Angel?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Well, my opinion or my perception of those days is very different from my colleagues.
Yeah.
Were they even more stoned than I was and thought everything was cool? I don't know. But I found David very generous with himself when it came to doing the sleeve notes for Angel's Egg, which he was virtually just a guest on. And he gave himself a lot of writing credits that perhaps he shouldn't have.
Right. He was quite a cunning sort of operator.
Some people would say arsehole, others will say cunning, yes. But, he was just David, But as I said before, we're a community band, we share everything, but he made a point of not sharing too much, And now, I did not appreciate this. And so I was keeping an eye on David from that moment onwards, which is not an easy job.
No.
And I think we could have made you better than we made it. I mean, it'll go down as being our best work because the composition is absolutely first class.
Yeah.
But I mean, Angel's Egg, I really enjoyed that record because when I put it on, it makes exactly the noise I remember we used to make in that house, in that forest, at that time.
Yeah.
And which makes me think that that's a good recording.
Yes.
Because it sounds what I remember. So we must have recorded it well, I think there could be a tiny bit more clarity with you. I did go on to mix you in quadraphonic, and those mixes have been released, but I don't have a quadraphonic system, so I've never heard it.
Right. With you, had Mike joined the band before that, or was that?
Oh, yeah. Angel's Egg has got Mike on. He'd been in the band for a couple of months, you know, and you've got to say that my computer, that was really something.
Yes, it is quite stunning. Yes, I did. Yes,
not that long ago, I don't know why, playing on my computer, YouTube, along comes the Steve Hillage set in the 2006 Gong Convention in Amsterdam. And there he was playing. I mean, I love Steve's music. He's a fantastic guitarist. And there was Steve and Mike playing, and I said to myself, my God, you know, he did play very well. Well, he does play very well, Mike, you know. He doesn't play much, you know. But when he does, it's really worth listening. You know, he's a very good bass player.
Well, yes, and an amazing producer. He went on.
I think, having produced some music myself, I think producers can't be better than the artist is producing. You know?
Right. Well, he did a lot of kind of 80s material, didn't he? So,
well, Mike's big
claim to fame.
Well, it's not even a claim to fame, but it's certainly what put him in the on the highway of life rather than the back street is having done Alone Again by Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark.
Yes, and he also did oh God, A Flock of Seagulls.
I mean, he's done a lot after that, but Alone Again was, as far as I know, a mega hit.
It was a mega hit, and so too was bizarrely Iran by Flock of Seagulls, because they got picked up on MTV in America, and then suddenly it was
Maybe.
everywhere.
I mean, but the only time I've actually seen a platinum disc in my life, it had Mike's name on it, and it was for Alone Again, you know.
Right, so yes.
What's that, $60 million worth, you know? I mean, that's a lot, you know.
It's a lot. You can sort of think about your retirement at that stage, can't you?
No, you think about buying houses and stuff.
Well, yes, absolutely. But then, yes. So then sort of mid-70s, you leave. Was that kind of quite straight, you know, as in emotionally quite easy to sort of walk away from that scene because of probably bad karma, really, or bad sort of energy, as we used to say in the hippie world?
Well, basically, I lost the solidarity of my colleagues.
Did you feel like Lemmy in Hawkwind at that stage, where you sort
That's an interesting question, because I didn't know Lemmy at that time, but I've known him very, very well since. Would he be alive? I would phone him up and ask him, actually. But yes, it must have, because I did frequent Lemmy in '79 quite a bit. Every time I was in London, on days off, rather than coming back to France, you know, I would stay at Wayne's, and we would leave the office of Hawkwind Management and visit Lemmy before going home. And yeah, he was in a... Now, the difference is, well, when Lemmy was out of Hawkwind, Douglas kind of started what became Motorhead behind his back, as it were, you know.
Yes.
Saying, yeah, well, you've got a group now. What? And when I left Gong, which was, it's more than 50 years ago now, I went back to Paris, and that's when my lighting friends immediately said, "You've done just the right time to come back, mate. You know, we've got this cinema for a week."
Right.
And it was straight into doing solo synthesizer stuff. No,
That
immediately,
yes.
you know.
God, that must have been a godsend, having that sort of focus to start to sort of, have
But
something.
it wasn't easy because, one, it's a very expensive art form, and two, I discovered that I was completely tied up with Virgin Records.
Oh, God.
And Virgin Records wanted nothing to do with me apart from eventually take the money, if I made any, because they had invested heavily, somewhat at my suggestion, with the Germans, you know, Klaus and Tangerine Dream and things like this. So the last thing they wanted was Tim Blake solo.
Right.
But they had him all the same, which meant it was very difficult for a few years because I was completely without finance.
Christ, the 2 years of sort of, loneliness, really. I guess.
But at the same time, we filled up theatres. Because for the first kind of 3 years of Crystal Machine,
yes,
we were doing gigs for a week. Now, this is not financially interesting, but it was artistically interesting. So we would set something up which would last for a week in a place, and then go on do it somewhere else next year, you know? So although there were a few gigs, the most important things were the 3 shows we did, 75, 76 and 77 in Paris, where we were doing a spectacle for a week, you know? And that meant that we could do something very, quite interesting and very different each year.
Yes.
And I came out of it with the results of both what I was doing at home and what I was doing on stage. And this is what became the first Crystal Machine album.
Right. And this was 77, wasn't it?
Well, yeah. And at 77, I was able to put some order in things and get it released in France.
And this is on Egg Records.
Well, Egg was Barclay. It's a label, but it was Barclay, which was the French record company at the time. But I had no experience in that kind of music. And so a couple of guys at Barclay had produced this label, Egg, to do other things,
So you got, there was 2...
There was a Vangelis record on Egg, for example,
Yes. So there was, was there? So you brought out Crystal Machine 77 and then Blake's New Jerusalem at this point. It was very, quite interesting 2 bits of work. Very, the latter one, you've really embraced your sort of spiritual New Age side at this side.
Well, but Blake's New Jerusalem is made in a studio situation.
Right.
That's in 2 studio situations. It started in England and it finished in Marquee Studios in Paris because it changed direction in the middle. When I came across the piece of music, which is the side 2, which is known as Blake's New Jerusalem.
Yes.
The name was a silly idea a friend of Tony Andrews had given to me. Oh, I hope it's going to be called Blake's New Jerusalem. And I hadn't thought of that, and it grew on me, But that's often.
I was going to say it's a colossal piece of work. This did you with writing it? Did you write that all after the first solo album in a very short period of time with this kind of a concept, almost a concept?
What would I know? I mean, you're probably right. I couldn't say, but you're probably right, Yes, I had some clear ideas, I mean, the two clearest ideas are Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And what became Blake's New Jerusalem, I suppose, well, the New Age song, for instance, which opens that album, I had written in 1971, the night I arrived at the Gong House.
Right.
But, I hadn't had the opportunity to record that kind of music until Blake's New Jerusalem, so I put it away.
Yes. Well, I think were you the first person to ever have that saying, New Age? Because I wouldn't have thought in the 60s that had become some sort of, I don't know, title song for a New Age.
Well, I've no idea.
No. I just
after 71, I heard. I mean, it was a phrase that got used in the Gong House quite a lot. But did it come from me? I've no idea. I'm sure not.
Just as a
there
curiosity,
must be a literary reference.
Yeah, because there was a guy called John Michel, wasn't there?
Absolutely. That's what. When I said a literary reference, I was thinking of him. Yes.
New View over Atlantis. Yeah, that was it. During that sort of mid-70s, I've been listening to various people talking about it. There was a lot of interesting people like Aleister Crowley and tarot cards and stuff like that. Obviously, you probably sort of have an interest in certain ley lines and spiritual energy. Did you also sort of embrace other aspects to...
No, but if you played the game of tarot... I'll probably take all your money, mate. Yeah, because I play that game very well. It's but you don't find English people who play it. It's definitely a French game, which is a game of cards which are played with the 78 pack.
Right.
Otherwise, I mean, Aleister Crowley and company was just an excuse for a load of junkies to hang out, wasn't it?
Well, yes, there was. Yeah.
Enough said,
Absolutely. Did you, and when you brought out the New Jerusalem, did you then manage to get that, did you tour that at all at this stage?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, the accumulating point is I headlined Glastonbury Festival in 1979.
Was that the first one they had done since that? Because they did one in 71, hadn't they, with Terry Reid and...
Yeah, we've gone, actually. Yeah.
And Melanie was there, and I think David Bowie played at 4 a.m.
Something like that, yeah.
So, and then there was a break, and then they brought it back. So I was wondering if that was the first of the ones...
It may have been.
Because there was quite a space between...
It may have been.
So you were there, the Glastonbury in 79.
Well, I mean, it's a very, very funny story. I mean... So it was quite a major thing because we were there with a big laser and stuff, which is very complicated to set up. And all of a sudden, boom, I come across Gail Colson. And Gail was a lovely woman, right? I met her because she was running, was it Chrysalis Records?
Right.
I've made a record for her for Nick Turner. And I was, she's just such a welcoming person, and really nice, It's rare, nice people in the record industry. And there she was at Glastonbury. And she's, wow, Tim, it's amazing. I'm looking forward to your show and everything, very encouraging person. Then Michael comes along and says, right, production meeting, are you coming, Gail? And the production meeting is them and me and Gail. I thought, what's going on here? And Michael says to Gail, look, we brought Tim over from France with all his lighting. And Gail's saying, I know, it's so exciting. I'm looking forward to this. So we'll have Peter playing before Tim. Is that okay? And she's saying, oh, yes, this is marvellous, I'm going to have such fun tonight. As we walk out, I said, Gail, what the fuck are you doing here? He said, oh, I'm managing Peter. I said, Peter who? And that's when I discover that my support band at Glastonbury was Peter Gabriel.
Oh. Fantastic. By
Strange thing is I've come across Peter from time to time.
Yes.
I don't think he's ever forgiven me for it, Anyway, it was an amazing set he played, and it was very difficult for me and John Phillip to follow on from that, but we did. Last time I saw Peter was in 2023, I think it was. I'm interested in fundamental physics.
Yes.
And as a result, I am a fan of the Conseil Européen de Recherche Nucléaire, CERN, who run the Large Hadron Collider in Switzerland. And when I first went there, I discovered they're all fans of Tim Blake, so we got on fine. And I was actually, I'd gone to WOMAD with CERN to illustrate with the theremin and other instruments a lecture on the fundamental waveforms which created matter.
Right.
But obviously hanging about at WOMAD, boom, there's Peter, and I'm still sure he's never forgiven me.
Yeah, so on the poster you got Steve Hillage, Sky, Tim Blake. There you go. You're right. You're the third on the list of this, and other sort of lots of people: Nick Turner, John Martin.
Well, it was Steve Hillage the Friday, John Williams and Sky the Saturday, and Tim Blake the Sunday.
You finished the night. You finished.
Yes.
Was it a beautiful weekend? By the way,
I thought it was.
I would imagine so. God.
And of course, I was well installed in my life in France, right? But Arabella, Thomas Crumble, who had been with Skin Alley, who I used to lump their fucking organ upstairs in back rooms of pubs in 1968, this was the Worthy Farm team that made the festival, and these were old friends of mine, so of course it was a lovely weekend.
What about it? Was that Annabella Churchill?
Yes, but Barton was her name, but we are talking about the same person. Yes.
Well, yes, there you go. That was very cosmic. So then sort of with that those projects, then how does your 80s develop? Because obviously going into another decade, there's another sort of scene of musicians and music going on at that point.
Well, when I was at Glastonbury, I was pretty much on it was called the Crystal Machine Intergalactic Tour. Right, we didn't actually leave the galaxy, and but in 1979, I've been back to Japan,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been all around Europe, and Glastonbury was in the low, and after Glastonbury, I had to finish off in Holland, and something strange happened. When I got back from Holland, two things.
Mm-hmm.
I did my accounts and I made sure everybody was paid.
Yes.
And two, it was the 14th of July, and I turned the television on, and there was a Frenchman playing synthesizers on the Place de la Concorde with friends of mine lighting it. And I said, for God's sake, what's this? You know? And by the time I finished my accounts, I noticed that I paid everybody, or what was required.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been from Japan to around Europe, I hadn't made a penny, of course. And I said, for fuck's sake, if a telephone rings and a group with a manager phones me up, I'm going to say yes. And at that instant, the phone rang. And it was Douglas from Clearwater saying, hey, Tim, how are you, man? Look, we're doing the Hawkwind 10th anniversary tour and you're playing the keyboards. So I deviated, and I said, if someone phones up, I'll say yes. So I said yes, and I did 79 and 80 with Hawkwind.
Nice.
Now, for the 80 winter tour, I said, I can't do it, because I had something personal going on. I moved out to Brittany, and I said, I can't do it, and my arm was twisted a little bit. And it was going to be a good show. We had Ginger Baker on drums, and so I went off on the road, but my girlfriend had a miscarriage, and I went straight home.
Jesus, that's hard.
And so that would have been the end of 80. 81, Michael was on the phone trying to get me to do Glastonbury again, and I said no, which is something I never get forgiven for either, But, and I got interested in something else.
God, that's
in 81, we had a political change in France. And when Mr. Mitterrand became president, first thing he did, he made local radio a possibility.
Oh.
And I had a lot of sound equipment experience, and soon became Mr. Technical in local radio transmission. And I did very little music at that time, and a lot of radio technology, and that went on for a few years.
Nice.
And then in the 90s, I would say the 80s, I wasn't interested. And in the 90s, I made magic because I've been interested to try this newfangled MIDI and MIDI recording on computers, and discovered that one could make a record in one go without a room full of equipment. And that interested me profoundly.
Yeah, well, I imagine this is a magic circle tonight, a dream with you. God, it so sort of the turn of another decade, and suddenly you were sort of intrigued again.
Oh yes, and I did 2 USA tours, and and a few showcases. I did one. Oh, good Lord, what it was called. But I remember before going to America, the first time I did a show with Chris Frank from Tangerine Dream in Charing Cross Road. I suppose it was the Astoria,
Yes.
which I played at many a time with the Hawks as well.
And how did you, I mean, when that came out, there was quite a gap until the next release, The Turn of a Century. What were you doing for the rest of the 90s at this stage?
Well, as I said, I did 2 tours of America. I did some showcase gigs myself, and then by the end of that period, it was the 30 years of Hawkwind.
Right. So
there was a thing called the Hawkestra. And I got back into playing with Hawkwind again, which I've always enjoyed. Oh, yes, I did a concert at Brixton once, and the next night Hawkwind were doing an all-nighter next door, Yeah, we're old friends,
And did you occasionally meet up with Gong? Did you ever sort of come back into the Gong family at all and do any more shows or happenings with them?
Well, I've done a couple of walk-ons. Like, I seem to remember a Parisian gig coming along and doing the chorus to Oily Way. David saying, come on, no one can do it apart from you anyway. Oily Way, and then we did, but this is in the 2000s, we did this Gong Unconvention, which was rather good. And there was a gig in Glastonbury as well, 2005 perhaps.
Right.
Which I rocked up to,
So yeah. So that's quite amazing. So what do you
I also had this accident in 2004 that kept me from, I was in hospital for about a year.
Oh, the car accident.
Yeah.
Jesus, that must have changed your life, really.
Which is a life-changing thing, yes.
Yeah.
For one reason, it was so life-changing that I was actually declared dead. And that is as cosmic an experience as anyone needs to do, but I don't recommend it.
No, I think those moments where you're wondering if it's it is quite humbling, and time in hospitals are not to be recommended for them, but they do save your life. So
they saved my life in the helicopter apparently, because I met the SAMU, the ambulance doctor who had declared me dead, and apparently when I got to the hospital, they declared me alive. So, there must have been some sparks going.
There's a pulse. Yeah. We've got it back. Yeah. Blimey. So that was like 20 years ago. So then what have you been doing sort of through the 2010s and the last 6 years?
Well, I mean, by the time I was re-established, right, we did this Gong Unconvention 3 days in Amsterdam, which was very good fun and a great success, I believe. And I still had some getting better to do.
Yes.
But by the time I was completely through it, which was halfway through 2007, I received a visit of an old friend in his marvellous camping van, who used to come round about once a year on his way to somewhere nice. And of course that's Dave Brock in this case.
Oh, nice.
And I was starting to work with the theremin at that time, and he said, well, whatever happens, you mustn't stay around doing nothing. You'll stay in my father's house because my father just died, and you'll come play with Hawkwind for a bit. And I played fairly intensively to Hawkwind.
Yes.
When I got to this house, it started to get heavier, but yes, I went back to Japan from this house one morning, to play with Hawkwind in Japan, which was quite good fun. So anyway, I love Japan, and it was my third trip,
Yes.
Went everywhere with Dave, actually.
Yes.
I can't thank him enough because I don't know if I would have got on my horse, as it were.
Yeah.
After that fall, and he practically obliged me to, and that's what friends are for.
God, that's a beautiful story, actually. Yes. No, when moments like that happen, you just think, thank God. Especially when you look back, you probably realise that you were in a pretty dark space as well.
Yeah. And as we were saying at the beginning of this conversation, 69 was pretty busy year, right?
Yes.
It was the year before the Isle of Wight, You had mentioned Bowie, and I said, yeah, well, in 69 I had it in front of my microphones, and so if you add 50 years to that, you get 2019, and there I found myself in the Royal Albert Hall, where my mum used to take me to listen to classical music, playing with David Hawkwind.
Wow. Did you go... There is a spiritual connection here.
Oh, completely. But when I walked out, now it's just very strange, but my mother's ashes are kind of 200 metres away from the Royal Albert Hall in a Knightsbridge church, because my mum ended her life living in central London.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked out of the Albert Hall and I went, and I went to see the Blake exhibition at the Tate Britain the next day, got on the train and came home. And apart from this outing I did with CERN at WOMAD a couple of years ago, I haven't gone out since.
Blimey. God, that was quite a closing of the door then, wasn't it?
Well, it's not necessarily closed. But what is it? It'll be 7 years in November since that gig. Well, I've certainly paused, yes. No.
Yes.
Certainly paused, and
So with the last 7 years, you've been in your house there,
absolutely, yes.
but you go out occasionally, but not further afield.
Not very much. I don't drive anymore. I use a bicycle, so I have a radius of about 15 kilometres. But I've definitely been catching up with country living, yes.
Well, nice. So what does your day now consist of? Do you still play music, or do you sort through archives?
Well, no, I should. A lot of my archives went into buying this house, but
right.
How can I say it? I mean, there's instruments around me.
Yes.
There's the theremin there, and a Moog emulator and a good keyboard, and there's more behind me. But I can't say I'm very productive at the moment.
No. But then you mentioned Cherry Red brought out an anthology today of your...
Oh, they brought out 2 box sets, yeah.
They brought out 2 box sets, actually. Is there anything in the pipeline at the moment? Or have you sort of...
Very vague.
Vague. Yeah. Yes. God.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience, something will go click and I'll do it, but, it doesn't happen all the time.
No.
I think, and once again, big hug to Dave, coming off stage at the Royal Albert Hall, me who is a Londoner,
Yeah.
celebrating 50 years of doing this shit. It was like a relief, You could let go of it. I went afterwards to Amsterdam to see Steve Hillage play.
Right.
I have been hoping to go next week to Poitiers to see Angine de Poitrine play, but it's sold out because it's a very small place.
Right.
They only play small places. But I mean, there's not much I find musically inspiring at the moment,
Well, no.
And and you can't. Some people can, but I'm not. If I look back to my own creative process and the albums I've made, I've actually spent quite a lot of time making each album. Tide of the Century took me about 6 years.
Right.
No. It doesn't just flow. It used to, but this is more because I wanted to express myself so desperately. Now I don't have a frustration.
No. Do you have a contentment then? Is it more of a, or do you just feel it's just something that was part of you but isn't part of you?
I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case. But I haven't found the fluid that gets me on a track for some time. But it always comes. Even back in the day, Blake's New Jerusalem, I thought I was doing something completely different, and suddenly a click came, and the actual track, and the line there behind these valleys which are so full of energy, we'll build a new Jerusalem with love, came to me, and I had to take extra recording time in Paris to do that, It was the same at the end of the 90s, I was recording some pieces of music and some songs because I like doing both, And my brother phoned me up. And during the conversation, very cynically as an English lawyer does, he says, I suppose you're making your millennium effort now, aren't you? And because I had no intention to do anything about that, and as soon as the conversation is finished, the line, there's the tide of a century and she's coming. It comes into my mind. And the album, which is going to be called Crystal Isle, became the tide of a century, these things happen. So I'm just waiting for this click, I suppose.
Well, yes. Well, it can happen at any time, I would imagine. Does it feel like you've got a very peaceful and harmonious setup at the moment in your environment? As in, does it feel like a very safe and kind of healing kind of, property?
Oh, where I live, yes, completely. If you mean by setup technical, no, I'm now beginning to discover what is wrong with using computers to make music rather than what is right.
Yes.
And what is wrong is updates.
Oh, God, yeah, updates are a nightmare.
Basically, Macintosh want you to buy the same thing every 2 years, and not at that price,
Yes. And also having to sort of, learn where all the things...
it all works the same. There's absolutely no difficulty with that. But it's just that they change the code, so you have to change things all the time.
Yes.
It's because they've realised that creatives are their big market,
Yes.
And so they're just milking it.
They are milking.
Be quite honest, when we were doing the Hawkwind thing round about 2007-8, I bought a laptop system. And if I could have that system with that version of everything on it, still...
Bingo.
Now we have much more powerful Macs, but, even this one, they've been trying to get me to update the system, and I regret the last update I did because half of my things don't work. And if I go right into the future, I think their music systems, they rent them to you now,
God,
I don't want to go there,
No, I wouldn't. It's not. No, I just hate when they have an update because then you sort of have to find where the things are. Nothing's particularly changed apart from the interface and where they've stuck stuff, and it all looks very different. And
oh yes, it's a bloody nuisance.
it's annoying, right? Yes. Well, look,
I mean, I have a system for midifying my theremin, right? Which is made by some English people called Solus. And, well, all of a sudden one day that stops working. And I contact them because they're nice guys and we have a relationship, I say, what's going on? And they say, hang on, we're working on it, and then send me back new firmware so that it works. And this just doesn't stop. Now, it's okay when you're friends with the people
making it.
who do the equipment.
Yes.
For instance, there's another piece of equipment I use on my computer is I have a modelization of my WEMS system.
Yes.
Which is called the XILS4, if I'm correct. And that, the same, all of a sudden it stops working. Don't worry, Tim, I'll be with you in 48 hours and a new version arrives. But that's because these people are friends of mine and we sponsor each other.
Yeah.
But Macintosh, they don't know who I am, or...
no, it'd be hard to get through to someone.
Yes, and they're just after, how many times do you have to buy the same software?
Yes, I know. That's cool. No, it's yes, we're all in that trap, aren't we?
I would actually like to go back a generation.
And then you'd be there. Nice.
Well, no, because I had it working perfectly.
Yeah. Demoralising, really. Yeah. So you still tinker around, and potentially there might be that moment that a new project comes out.
Oh yes, I'm sure. But no, the other thing is, well, I did live in this famous windmill, which a lot of people know I used to live in for 21 years, right? And then moving about a bit, some of it in England, some of it elsewhere, I acquired this house and I've been moving in, it takes a little time.
Well, yes.
And then, of course, Brexit.
Oh, yeah, that's another bit of admin.
Now, it just happened, especially through my friendship with Dave Brock, that, and I like Hawkwind. I was there on the first day. I hope to be there on the last. I mean, Hawkwind's been going throughout my entire professional life, and I've been in and out, I mean, I've found some photos and things that seem to indicate that I had a lot more to do with Hawkwind than I thought, or Dave thought, in 69, 70, I don't quite know what I was doing, but I was doing it, well, I am pretty well installed in my house now,
Yes. But did you mention Brexit? Did that cause any issues, or were you...
Well, I mean, put it like this. One, the last part of my career, I've been doing it with Hawkwind, okay?
Yeah.
So it's in England. Now then, when the euro was introduced, which is what, 2000?
Mm-hmm.
A pound was worth €2. It's now worth €1.20. So that means that whatever you give me to play a gig, it's worth 40% less than it should be.
Yes.
Okay? 2, there's no free movement of goods. So how the hell do you explain to the customs man what all this musical junk is in the back of your car? I've done that 40 years ago, you know, with carnet ATAs and paperwork. And, well, you know, it's really got to be worth your while.
Yes, it's not going to be easy, is it?
I would say that Brexit is the biggest... as far as live music in England is concerned, Brexit has been the biggest ralentissement, you know, slowing down of
yes,
and demotivation.
Yeah, there was a lot of bands that I spoke to who relied on their 30 dates in Europe to pay for the other 11 months of the year. So when that happened, they went, oh, I don't think the band's going to continue anymore, because they had to have that almost like, okay, we'll get the transit van, or bus, we'll get the PA, we'll get a sound engineer, we'll get the merchandise. We're just going to have to suck it and see and tour like hell. Germany loves us, Italy loves us. You know, we'll just do that 1 month. You know, we'll pay the bills, but you know, we'll keep the band going, or pay the rest of for the rest of the year. And then it's like, oh, we can't do that anymore. So
you can't do it. It's free. I mean, a very big show, well managed and well financed, you can do it. Just like we did it 45 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, with ATA, you know, people don't realise that to have a correct manifest for equipment to travel across borders, before England joined the European Union, in fact, even sometime afterwards, you used to have an ATA carnet, and you used to have to deposit 1/3 of the value of the equipment with the Chamber of Commerce. Now, that a record company would do, but they charge you for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't get much for now these days.
No. I know, it's not good, is it? Anyway.
And as it happens, Brexit is also very, I'm not sure if I can find the correct word in England, but in English, but well, I've lost my citizen status where I live.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was a citizen. I could vote. You know, I can be a part of the community around me. Now I have a special third country residence permit, which I had to renew every 10 years. And that's only 10 years and not 5, because I've had European residency for kind of 40 years before.
Right.
No, it's highly insulting. Especially when you realise that I wasn't allowed to vote in the referendum either.
Yes. That's...
So the referendum is, as far as I'm concerned, false, rigged. Only we weren't there saying stop the steal like other people I've heard of. And well, I'm a great fan of the BBC. As you would have noticed when this conversation started.
Yes.
And what a mess. Yeah, mind you, we're in a mess here in France too, but it's a different kind of mess. But, well, it's still left versus right, but, you know.
Yeah, I know it's a bit sad, but then yeah, there you go. Well, look, Tim, thank you ever so much for your time. I mean, it's been a hell of a musical moment, really, hasn't it? Sort of discovering all your sort of amazing journeys here, and it's good that you're still with us as after your horrendous accident. But
Oh, yeah, well, that's pure fluke, but, yeah. I mean, what, you know, I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Dave came round, he kind of picked me up, you know. And I'd done a tour of the UK as soon as I got out of the wheelchair.
right,
With John Philip playing with me, and, you know, I love playing with John Philip, someone I've known since he was 12 years old, you know. And when John Philip comes to play with you, it's going to be good because John Philip makes it sound just like you, but a little bit better. He has this magic quality, and you know, it's these people who kind of made sure that I wasn't going to take this lying down.
yes,
You know, I mean, they say when you have a horse accident that you just had to get back on the horse, don't you?
yes, and I guess yeah, most accidents are a bit like that, aren't they? You just got to you realise it's going to be tricky to yes, it's a deep psychological issue, isn't it? Really. But yeah, well, look, it's nice to hear that Dave was such a nice friend. That's always nice to hear. But look, I'll let you rock on. But thank you.
Yeah, but not many people say that about him, actually. So yeah, but, you know, I mean, as well, a lot of people are no longer with us, right?
Yes.
Every day there's more, you know, and. Right, Dave seems to have some kind of great longevity gene in him. I mean, his dad died at 102 or something, you know, so... but we're probably each other's oldest friend.
Yeah. I know, it's quite amazing, isn't it, really?
Yeah. I'm sorry about the beeps, but I haven't turned WhatsApp off.
Well, that's okay. It's nice to see. So was John Philip part of Hawkwind then?
No, you don't know who John Philip is, I suspect.
No, I don't. Who is John Philip, by the way?
If you look on YouTube for Tide of the Century Alive,
yes,
you'll see a film of me and John Philip performing in Amsterdam. And John Philip Ricciel is one of the three greatest musicians I've met.
Right.
The other two being Didier Malherbe and Steve Hillage, you know? I mean, either of those three, wow, they all play so well. There's nothing you can say. You can say lots, but about their playing, you know? They all play so well. But the difference between John Philip and the others is that I met him when he was 11 or 12.
Right.
And his father had invited me to lunch and said, Tim, we've been looking all around the world for someone like you. You're the only person who I can count on to explain to John Philip that a blind person cannot play the synthesizer. And I said, oh, really? Why not? And the result is John Philip is a marvellous synthesizer player. He was playing with me on New Jerusalem. His playing when he was, 15 or 16. He came to Japan with me. He came, Glastonbury in 79 was with John Philip. And then he went on to have a musical career of his own, both some solo albums.
Yes.
Which he himself would say, it doesn't seem to me what I do best. What is amazing with John Philip is that if he likes your music, and he listens to it, and if he wants to play with you, he will play just like you, only better. That's what I said before. And I mean, this is an amazing quality he has, you know. Now, the other thing about John Philip is a couple of years after Glastonbury, a mutual friend of ours took him to Africa. And this was another great wow moment for him, because he likes both the way of life and the music, right? Now, when Peter Gabriel had finished with Houston Door,
oh yeah,
John Philip picked him up and has produced 3 or 4 records for Yusuf, you know, and I believe he has a house in Dakar now, and he spends 6 months of the year in Senegal, you know. He plays Xalam, he plays all sorts of African groups, you know. He's also someone who's very free because he has no constraint about who he, you know, he doesn't have to work for people.
No.
He can choose to do what he likes. It's a privilege he has, yes. But, and he's an amazing soul, but as I said, on YouTube there's 2 things. There's A Tide of the Century live, and there's also, with no images, there's a version of the New Age song live. You should listen to both of them and you'll find out who John Philip is.
I'm looking at now. So your YouTube is that Tim Blake? That's the one, isn't it?
No, my name's Frank Zappa.
It is not.
Yeah. Sorry, I get confused sometimes.
Well, I was looking at there's 2. There's Moon. I think you've got 2 accounts on YouTube, haven't you? I believe.
Well, I mean, there's more that you know, songs crop up all the time on YouTube, but Moonread is when I'm publishing them.
Right, I got you. Oh, well, look, this is good. I've got lots to look at for now. Look, thank you ever so much, Tim. I'll let you rock on because, but
absolutely.
Look, it's been an amazing pleasure and privilege, and all the best. Keep on rocking.
I'm very annoyed to discover you're not my local radio, C86, you know.
I know, always. But anyway, look, Norwich, so much to answer for.
Well, right. You know, Norwich, I cremated my father in Norwich.
Yes.
You know, his ashes are in the Garden of Remembrance of the crematorium of Norwich. And
So that's literally behind our house. We back onto the cemetery.
Good Lord. But yeah, you know, but this was rather a long time ago.
Well, I know, but so this is the Earlham Road, and then, you know,
I was 14 when we had to do this, you know, so,
yeah.
You know, but, and the other thing I remember from Norwich is seeing the Coleman collection in the castle.
Oh, yes.
Now, which is, if you're interested...
The Norwich painters, it was...
yeah, the Norwich School.
The Norwich School, there was him and, not Constable, oh, God.
Well, yeah, Constable.
Yeah, well, there's Constable Country, but there was another artist who was famous for horses, which is, Alfred Munnins.
Oh, quite possibly, yes, Munnins is very present, I believe, in the Cambridge School. Yeah.
Yes, but yes, I know. Well, there you go. Nice bit of history there. But look...
I mean, I'm a long way from there now, but you know, these are memories, yes, of Norwich. played a good gig in Norwich for in a television studio with Hawkwind, probably around 2013, 14 or 15, something like that.
Oh, but that was probably Epic Studios. Yes, indeed.
But I mean, I very much doubt if there were half a dozen TV studios in Norwich, so it probably was, yes.
It was the one, yes, stand down. Oh, well, look, Tim, I'll let you rock on, but thank you so much for your time. This has been amazing. My mind is blown. Okay, look, take care of yourself. And
the Blakes are from Bury, in fact.
Oh.
St. Edmunds, huh?
Yes.
But,
yeah. Well, okay, look, take care, and I'll sort of say goodbye, but keep in touch.
Well, you know how to find me. You did.
I did, didn't I? I tracked you down. Well, thanks for saying yes. It's been a pleasure. Okay.
My pleasure. I hope you get something useful out of this.
I'm sure I will. Okay.
Rolling on. Okay, well, I better say okay because it's telling me you're recording me.
Yes, okay.
I don't know if you are until I say okay. So.
I know. Take care. See you later.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
And that was me in conversation with Tim Blake. This has been the C86 show, David Eastaugh. If you want to contact me, you can on any of the social media platform sites. Just do C86 show. All these interviews have been archived on Spotify, iTunes and Podbean. It's true. Have a great week. Stay safe.